Hello and welcome to Day in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone. I am still feeling super energized off of yesterday's Halloween parade. I don't know about all of you in the audience, but I hope you got to enjoy it. And if you missed it, Woburn Public Media does a great job of recording it. So it's fun to go take a look and spot your friends who are in the parade and the kids who march by. There's a lot of awesome stuff that happened. As always, we're going to start with Mayor Concannon, and we have a lot of really great guests today. We're going to have a good show. We've got a lot to dig into. So let's hang in right in there. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Samantha. How you doing?
I'm good. Did you and Anne Marie enjoy the parade yesterday?
We had a blast. We had a great time.
Yeah.
We get to ride the route, which is a lot of fun. Get to see a lot of people and wave. Had to perfect our particular waves. And then we get to the reviewing stand and we get to dismount and actually watch the rest of the parade, which is a lot of fun. We shared the day with the King Lion from the Host Lions Club, Lou Barretto and his wife, and the Grand Marshal, Bob McKillop, and his wife. And then, of course, special guests for the day were the Woburn Challenger baseball division team and supporters and coaches. And that was awesome. As I went down the route, it appeared to me like we had one of the biggest crowds we've had in a long time. I know the weather was beautiful, and I haven't heard yet from the Lions, but I'm hoping that they were very successful with their donation collections along the route. It certainly was a day for it, so I'm hoping to hear really good news from them.
Yeah, I hope so. I expect you will. I loved all the pins with the Venmo right on it. And of course, those blue tarps were getting filled with lots of bills and coins as people were going by. And it was an excellent big crowd for sure. And I'm sure the weather helped with that. So, and as we all know, the money that gets funded there goes to really important work to help with eye research and helping out with some local programs for folks as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great cause. It's really one of the highlights in the city. And I encourage everybody to try to join us next year. You won't regret it. A lot of fun.
Absolutely. And we are not done with Halloween fun. I have been getting lots of questions about trick-or-treating from folks who maybe moved to the community and came from neighborhoods which had a set time. As a reminder, Woburn does not have a set trick-or-treat time on Friday. People can come and go. We ask people to be polite. If somebody's light is not on, don't knock on their door. If it is, feel free to do that. But before that, on Thursday, we're going to have some fun right here in City Hall and downtown.
Yeah, we have a tradition that was started last year, thanks to you and the team here, of trick-or-treating here in City Hall. And we have the City Council chamber set up in a scary way, which will be a lot of fun. And then the kids can also go downtown. Several of the merchants have agreed to participate and hand out candy. So it's a nice way to bring people to our City Hall and to our downtown in advance of the official trick-or-treating on Friday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Casey Haggerty, our economic development lead, is my partner in crime, along with a whole bunch of employees here who really love putting smiles on families' faces. So we're looking forward to a fun night. If it rains a little bit, you'll be mostly inside, going from spot to spot, or just come by City Hall and have some fun. The library's got some programming that day as well. So we're looking forward to it. I was
really impressed last year. For the first time out, we had a huge crowd. So I'm hoping all those people come back and they've told their friends that it's a good time and they'll join us too.
I hope so, because we have a lot of candy and glow sticks and other things that we want to make sure get in other people's hands. So it'll be great. Now, on a more serious note, we do have a neighborhood meeting coming up about Salem Beach and Bow, an intersection that's been talked about a lot in terms of safety for pedestrians and others. And I thought it might be great to just let you give a little moment. I know city councilors Demers and Mercer Brewarn are sort of hosting that, but I thought you'd give a little preview about what we might be talking about.
Yeah, so that's a troublesome intersection here in the city. It's also a heavily traveled area for students walking to and from school. And we've been looking at it for a little while now, trying to find ways to improve safety in the area. We've tried a couple of things with signage and striping the road and trying to improve visibility in the area. And as you said, there was some concerns brought to City Councilor Demers and City Councilor Mercer Bruin's attention in the last year or so. So we're working with them to have a neighborhood meeting where we can present a few ideas on short, medium, long-term solutions to the area. We want to get the feedback from the neighbors, the residents who live there, and those who travel through to get their input on what type of improvements they'd like to see there. City Engineer Alex Rozycki is helping to lead that effort. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what the neighbors have to say about that. We have some ideas. We've worked with a consultant on some options. So we'll lay those all out and gather some feedback and then figure out next steps after that.
That's great. Coincidentally, on the same night, there's a discussion that's being led by, has to do with an environmental state review for what is the Showcase Cinemas lot, Home Depot land there that they
Yeah.
acquired some time ago. And there's been a lot of people over, since time saying, hey, are they going to ever do anything with it? Well, there's some beginning small moves of heading in that direction. Do we have any additional information we might be able to share with folks?
Not at this point. As you said, these two meetings, the Salem Beach and Bow and this proposed Home Depot meeting, are at the same time. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The Salem Beach and Bow meeting will be in person at fire headquarters on 731 Main Street, coincidentally, right across the street from the entrance to the showcase. And the showcase slash Home Depot meeting is a Zoom meeting, and we can make the information available to folks who want to join it. It's really the first step in the environmental process. This one is conducted by the state. Mass Environmental Policy Act, MEPA as it's known, calls for the very beginning community meetings on potential proposed developments like this. So we'll probably hear some, the very beginning explanation of what could happen here. It's a long process. We've got to get through these beginning state level reviews. And then at some point, there'd be a special permit application filed with the city council. And there'd be public hearings and people would have an opportunity to weigh in at that point on the project, its merits, what types of mitigation might be required to make it more palatable. So it's a long process. We're quite a ways out before you'd actually see shovels in the ground. But as you said, this would be step one, the MEPA review.
And in the meantime, the movies are still playing. People should still go enjoy
Yep,
those things. There's no date by which that will no longer be the case at this point.
correct. And even yesterday at the start of the Lions Halloween parade, the Showcase Cinemas, as always, was gracious enough to let us use their parking lot to stage the parade. And they were open. There were some people going to the movies instead of the parade, if you can believe it. But for years now, the Showcase Cinemas has been a great partner to the Lions and the city in allowing us to stage for our parade. And going forward, whatever happens there, I'd like to think we'll be able to work with the new owners and occupants to make it work as well. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Samantha.
Excellent. Next up, I'd like our city engineer, Alex, to join us. Mike mentioned Alex is working on some of the intersection work, but today we're going to talk about one of my personally favorite projects. We've seen it from building up in little tiny idea to start making big moves. And we're talking now about Hurld Park, where the old Hurld School was. Building has come down, Alex, and everybody wants to know what happens next and how quickly can we move?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Samantha. Long-time listener, first-time caller here on
Love
today in
it.
Woburn.
And won't be your last. We'll have you back many more
No.
times.
Yeah, so I took over the engineering department about 8 months ago from our predecessor, Jay Corey, who's been working on the set at Hurld for it looks like 5 years for at least since that got started. The school came down about a year ago, and we're looking to break ground and start on the new construction project that will be bid about a month from now. So we're just getting towards the beginning of seeing some progress again after sort of a quiet year out there between projects.
It's exciting to actually see that happen. And I know I've been fortunate. I've seen some of the previews of what the park was going to look like and some of the equipment that we've ordered. And I think people are going to be really happy. One of the things that I know was given a lot of care is accessibility for the playground equipment. And I don't want to, give away more than we're ready to, but maybe you could talk a little bit about how we thought about that as we were picking pieces.
Yeah, it's coming into it as it first started. The playgrounds and parks in Woburn really have been really impressive, and the team between recreation, the grant administrator, engineering has all really worked together with Parks Department to create something that feels like it fits the neighborhood and fits the city appropriately, and is given the time and space that it needs. And all of the decisions with President Dillon involved have been accessible for everyone of all ages and all abilities. So it's really going to be an inclusive spot. And the goal of the MVP program is to provide climate resilience and heat resilience, and to be able to install a playground as part of that is really very, very neat.
One of the things that you mentioned, the MVP, we're really fortunate in that most of the money that is funding this really wonderful project is coming from grants. Can you talk a little bit about who has given us money? Because we want to show our gratitude always for their helping us along here.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, 5 years of grant after grant after grant that the city has been able to pull in here. I'm looking at the total down on the bottom of the page here. It looks like the southern end that we're breaking ground on over the next couple of months has gotten about 3.5 million in state and federal funding, from conception to design to now to construction. And the northern portion, which we haven't talked about a lot as much recently, that's gotten about 3.2 million in state and federal earmark funding as well. And we've got some good news on that coming back to really tie these two pieces together in a really, really neat way, with a standard playground on one side and more of a nature experience on the other side. It's really going to be something when it's all done.
It's going to be incredible. When can people maybe start to expect phase one? I guess technically phase two. We took the building down as phase one, but this
Yeah.
next piece of it to be where they might start to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think we'll have good news, in a month from now. So the bid date is November 19th. The playground itself should be accomplished and done by July next year. The holdup then becomes, we have the active construction site, around the rest of the features of the playground. So we're going to do our best to get it open on the weekends, get it open sort of as we can. But I think in about a year from now, you should see most of that site planted, open, and ready to go. I'm not sure the spray park, opens up in time for the summer, but thankfully we've got two other spray parks in the city for people to enjoy in the meantime. So about a year from now, and then the whole project in itself, the grant funding expires July of 2027. So
there's a real deadline for us,
yeah,
right?
Yes, it'll get done.
It will, and you're doing a great job keeping this moving. What had started earlier. So, Alex, thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited about this project, and a lot of the things we'll have you come back on to talk about some of the other stuff as they get to us. We get lots of questions about the New Boston Street Bridge and other things, so we'll save that.
Pleasure to talk about this one, because building a park is a lot easier sell than changing an intersection and building a bridge and a treatment plant. So these are one of the fun ones, and we're looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thanks as always.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Excellent. Next up, our city clerk, Lindsay Higgins, is going to join us, and we're going to talk about our upcoming election. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hello. Glad to be back here. I haven't been back probably since last year, but it's that time of year again. It's election season. November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th. We have the municipal election. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's held citywide for the mayor, council at large, school committee, as well as each councilor. Before I get into some other information, I just want to let everyone know, if you have any questions or need more information, there are several options. There's voteinma.com, woburnma.gov, or you can call the city clerk's office at 781-897-5850. There will be alerts going out this Friday. Most likely this Friday, you'll get text, email, and also a robocall if you signed up for those. Again, we're planning on that for Friday. I know it's Halloween, but it's hard to do it the week of the election. So we'll be doing it on Friday. I just want some last date reminders for dates. We have October 28th, Tuesday, October 28th is the last day you can apply for an absentee or vote by mail ballot for the applications. We need to receive them by 5 p.m. Our office will be open until also November 3rd, the day before the election, the Monday, you can do an absentee ballot in person in our office up till noon. So you can come down and do that if you cannot make the polls on election day. If you have any questions, again, you can contact the clerk's office or any of those resources I mentioned. But I really want to talk about is our elections are going to look a little different this year. Over the last few years, we've been so fortunate with the current administration, with Mayor Concannon and former administrations, as well as the city councils, to get a lot of equipment and resources with elections. And so we've had new voting booths, if you've noticed, also new voting machines. But this election, we're implementing poll pads as well as election software, which we also did in the Award 1 preliminary in August. So we had a nice trial run with that in the preliminary, and now we're going citywide with it. So your polling locations may look a little different because we have to accommodate all the election equipment that need plugs. So don't worry, things might change a little bit. We're going to do a workflow through there. I'm already been in contact with the building facilities manager, Paul Medeiros. I've been in contact with Lenny Burnham over at the school's facilities, and I will be continuing contacting them both to make sure things are set up properly. One thing I want to mention for this election, we are going to have poll pads. Instead of the old school black binders that we had, where you would go through A through L or M through Z to check in, we are now using these electronic poll books. They're essentially iPads and they're electronic check-in. I have one right here. This is what you're going to see. You're probably going to see this side of it when you're coming up to us because we have the other side. But essentially, you're going to go up to either side, and you would give your name, and they would then look up your information, and then they would confirm that name with you, and then they would be able to give you a ballot. So we have electronic poll books, so it allows us to do things a little quicker. However, I just want people to know this is a trial run. You know, some people will be doing this for the first time, as others did not vote in the preliminary in Ward 1. So just be patient with us. We know we're going to be patient with everybody. It's just going to have a lot of information. We'll have extra staff on site to explain anything you want. If you have any questions, you can also call our city clerk's office ahead of time. I just want to let you know it's a paperless vote-in check-in system. It should allow quicker check-ins. You can do a check-in manually. And we can give your name. You can also do a check-in through the scanning of the optional ID scan. So in Massachusetts, we're not required to provide IDs when we come to the polling locations, unless you fill into another category, perhaps you're a first-time voter, but others people do not have to provide an ID. So we would be asking you, if you want to go a quicker process, you can provide your ID and we would ask permission to scan it. It's not pulling any information off, it's just getting the data for your name and address. We do not store it. It just simply matches our records and it pulls up your information quicker. If you'd like to do that, you can. If you don't have to. But if you have any questions with that, again, we'll have staff on site, or you can call the clerk's office and we can walk you through it.
Thank you, Lindsay. I know that was perfect. That's exactly what we all need to know. And I think it's really helpful. I know the feedback from the Ward 1 preliminary race was very positive. It allowed you to streamline some things, get the results out faster, make sure there's, all the things work exactly how it should. And I know I saw lots of poll workers getting training the other day. So we really appreciate, we know this is a very busy time, not just the day of the election, but all the things leading to it. And then all the things that happen afterwards to make sure that all the data is entered in all the important places.
Yeah, LHS, our vendor on this, they've come on and did trainings. They did a training on August. They did a training for my staff, and they also did 2 trainings for this election. And I also did some trainings. It's not as good as the LHS training, but people got information they needed to.
Fantastic. Lindsay, thank you so much. And please thank your whole team for us. We know how hard everybody's working right now.
Oh, I will. Thank you very much.
Next up, Deepali, welcome.
Thank you, Samantha. How are you?
Excellent. I had a chance to say hello on Saturday morning. It was a beautiful day, and you had a really important walk and a fundraiser and a raise awareness. And I thought we would start our conversation today with you just giving a chance to talk a little bit about the important work that Saheli does here in Woburn, but also in general in Massachusetts.
Yes, of course, Samantha. Thank you so much for coming and hope you had a good birthday. Mayor Concannon, also,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming. It means a lot to us when Woburn as a city is able to show their solidarity towards the cause. So I really appreciate both you supporting us and showing up for these important events. If you don't know who are joining us and are listening from home, Saheli is a nonprofit organization that serves South Asian and Arabic speaking communities across Massachusetts. And our mission is to serve domestic violence and sexual assault survivors, supporting them to rebuild their lives with safety, dignity, and independence. And one of the most important thing we do is crisis intervention and advocacy, helping survivors access emergency shelter, legal support, counseling, and safety planning. And of course, we focus on long-term empowerment, offering financial literacy workshops, job readiness, housing assistance, drivers ed, and all those English classes, so that they can be independent once they feel empowered to do so. We also provide prevention education workshop. There's a strong emphasis from our program side. We run workshops in schools, community centers, colleges, and conversations about healthy relationship and mental health topics that are often stigmatized in immigrant communities. What makes Saheli unique is our culturally and linguistically responsive approach. Our advocates speak multiple South Asian, Arabic speaking Middle Eastern, and North African languages, and we understand the cultural barriers that make it hard for survivors to seek help. So, at its core, Saheli is not just an organization. We are a very community based organization providing support, hope, empowerment for those who often feel unseen and unheard.
I think I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think that that's incredibly important. I think most of us don't always understand enough about how hard it is for someone who to leave perhaps an abusive relationship with a domestic partner. I think that we underestimate what it takes to do that. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that make it really hard and why organizations like yours are so important to be there to back people up?
Really important question, and we grapple with it all the time. But it's so hard for survivors to leave. The studies say that it takes them 7 tries to leave an abusive relationship. And most importantly, we have to learn that domestic violence is just not about physical harm. It's about power and control. Abusers often isolate their partners, control their finances, threaten their immigration status, or manipulate their emotions. So leaving isn't just walking away. It can mean losing your home, your community, your children, your self-esteem. And it takes a lot of mental strength or uh, any kind of strength to be able to say, I'm going to walk away. It's also very complicated because of fear, shame, and culture and religious pressures that many survivors feel trapped or judged. That is why it is so important to have a culturally sensitive support system that understands those layers and can help survivors rebuild safety and with dignity.
One of the things that I think we all hope to do is that if somebody asked us for help, we would hope to be able to connect them to the right resources. But I think a lot of times people don't always directly ask for help. Are there things that we should look out for, things that people might say that might be signals that somebody is in need of assistance and might be in an abusive relationship that we should be listening for?
So, first of all, I think learning about what domestic violence is. In our community, we think domestic violence means bruises and cuts, but we have to learn there are different forms of domestic violence. Somebody might not show bruises and cuts, doesn't mean that there is no domestic violence. They might be still suffering. So learn about what domestic violence is. Learn about the resources that are available in the community around you. And if you suspect someone who you care about is being abused in any way, it is it's first thing is to approach it with empathy and not judgment. Gently let them know that you're concerned, that you believe in them, and that you are ready to listen. Avoid pushing them to leave or make decisions before they feel safe. Leaving can actually be the most dangerous thing for them, most difficult thing for them. So instead, help them with organizations like ours who understand what they are going through, who can nudge them in the right direction. And finally, teach our young generation how to learn and respect each other, men to respect women and boys to respect young girls, and young girls to learn to speak up.
That's a really good advice and importance. How can we as a community support the work that Saheli is doing?
By showing up for walks, for events. The most important thing that we would prefer is by spreading awareness. Because, like I said earlier, a lot of times people don't even know what domestic violence is. Even in our community, when I talk about it, they goes, "Really? This is happening?" People don't understand that education, financial, if you are financially healthy, doesn't mean that there is no domestic violence. It can happen behind closed doors in any home. So spreading awareness about domestic violence and about the cause is so important. Of course, volunteer, donate. It can provide life-saving services for survivors, and especially in today's climate when there are funding cuts everywhere. Donate your time or help out with some. No small amount is going to go waste. It helps. So every contribution, whether it's sharing our message or joining the events or supporting financially, helps out any family or children, and we can offer safety and rebuild their lives with dignity.
Thank you, Deepali, for joining me today, but more importantly, for all the work that you and your team are doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. And Jaylene's joining us from Respond. Welcome, Jaylene.
Hi, Samantha, and thank you, Mayor and Samantha, so much for inviting me to speak today. It means a lot, and this is super supportive way that I can make our organization more known to the community. So thank you so much for that, and I really appreciate it.
Well, we're so glad to have you here. Respond has had a rich history of working out of our police station, works very closely. I know you are newer to Woburn, and we're so thrilled to have you here. But, I want to talk a little bit first about just the month of October and what it means to raise awareness. So October is a time that we often pause and raise awareness around domestic violence and abuse. And I thought it might be helpful for you to just talk a little bit from Respond's perspective, why taking that time to pause and reflect is important to the mission.
Yes, absolutely. So it really is, we really do a lot of, community outreach during this month because it is so important, especially with being so close to the holiday season as well. Sometimes, that's why it's also in October. It's also closer to the holidays, and sometimes that can be the most isolating time of year, for a lot of survivors who are in domestic violence relationships. Some of the signs of being in a domestic violence relationship can be very isolating away from friends and family. And we understand how hard the holiday season can be for a lot of survivors right now. So it is a very important month.
I'm glad that you're here to join us and talk a little bit about this and honor the time this month and always. What are some of the ways that Respond helps out? So I mentioned earlier that you reside in our police station, which is a wonderful way to connect to folks who might have reached out through the police or other means. Tell us a little bit about the work that Respond does.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm personally in our LEP part, which stands for Law Enforcement Partnership Program. And what that means is it's kind of just the bridge in the gap between myself and helping police officers just kind of understanding what domestic violence can look like when they respond to a call like that, and also to make survivors feel more comfortable and safer to be able to come forward. We can completely understand how when the justice system is involved, it can be even more intimidating to come forward. So my position, we kind of help bridge that gap. Which is why we're implemented in the police departments. For obvious reasons, if you're in immediate danger, like always reach out to the police department. But if you're a little unsure and uneasy, but you're still looking to have that support, you can always reach out to our support line and ask for me, and I can always walk you through that. And we, do support crisis intervention and emotional support and all that. So
Yeah, I know I've referred a few folks to you, and you've been a really incredible guide to help them understand what the legal process looks like. What is a restraining order? Do I qualify for it? If I do, what does that mean? If I have children with this partner, these are complex situations, and safety is always the number one priority, but it doesn't end just with that. And so I'm grateful for the kinds of people that you have on your team that you connect people to make sure they get all the support and guidance that they might need at this point in time.
yes, absolutely, exactly. Those are also some of the services that I personally can also support in, as well as those questions about restraining orders and help guide through the court system. We also do court accompaniment as well. We understand how intimidating it can be to be in a courtroom for the first time. And it's a very intimidating process. And so we help a lot and support in that. So that was a very important piece. So thank you for that, Samantha.
Yeah, one of the things I think I've heard from a lot of survivors is oftentimes there's and people who want to support them, who say, I have a friend who's in this situation, I want to be supportive. You've got to let people be in the driver's seat and let them make the decisions that are right for them and their family in those moments. And one of the things I like about Respond is that you are there to support and educate and comfort and empathize, but you always provide information and allow them to make those decisions. And I think for someone who might be on the edge of asking for help, bridging that gap by talking with someone like yourself is always a nice way to ease into decisions that are very difficult sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. If you find yourself in a situation that, you believe could be categorized as domestic violence, it doesn't hurt to speak to someone about it and ask and know what your options are. We understand that those decisions cannot be made right away, but education and information is so crucial and so important, so that you're aware that there is a way out. And we could definitely support that. So
Excellent. Before I let you go, Jaylene, tell us a little bit about how we here in the community can support the really important work that Respond does.
yeah, absolutely. I think, just making our organization known is super important. We have our pamphlets and cards, for those who are wanting to come at a more anonymous approach, which is we completely understand. You can always, pick up a pamphlet at City Hall, that we have those there, or at the library, and just kind of spreading the word that we do exist, and the support can always be provided. And donating to the cause as well is super crucial, super important. Kind of to just jump off what Deepali was saying, we do understand that there is some government funding issues that are happening in real time. So just, supporting to the cause can help tremendously as well. So, and we do, also provide shelters as well. And so that also takes a lot of funding for, situations where it can become a danger issue. So that's super important.
Thank you, Jaylene, for joining us, and thank you to the Respond team for the really important work that you guys are doing right here in Woburn.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Samantha and Mayor. We couldn't do it without all the support from you guys, so we appreciate it.
Woburn, I hope you take a moment to pause this October to reflect on a lot of the fun that we have, Halloween parades and trick-or-treating and haunted chambers and all the things, but also reflect on survivors in our community who have done very brave and courageous things to make it through difficult situations. And maybe there are ways that you can help people understand that there is help, connect them to those resources and support them where you can. As always, let's continue to take good care of each other.